So I'm delighted that it's our 50th conference. So I just opened the conference on Friday, the 10th of November. It's really fantastic to see so many members of our fantastic international community here. For the first time, we've extended the conference to 2.5 days over the weekend, which is really great. We've moved it to Birmingham, and we've had the best response we've ever had to the conference. So just under 550 individuals registered, but also fantastic. So 30 countries represented. We have 40 adults, 13 teenagers, but also we have 20 patient organisations from around the world, which is really amazing. But I also want to highlight something else, which is really important. The response that we've had from healthcare professionals has been truly outstanding. And I'm not talking just about the consultants and neurologists. What's been really great is to see all the fantastic wider healthcare professionals. So we know that physiotherapists and OTs and research nurses play such a pivotal role in standards of care for Duchenne. And it's great to see that they're all here represented. They really had really itching to come, and they really wanted to see all the families, but also to hear all the research updates. So in terms of the split, it's been really interesting this year. I think it's truly representative of the wider community, and that the aim of the conference is to drive forward collaboration. Because we think about when we are organising the conference, we think about the overview of what's happening in Duchenne. So whether it's state-of-the-art preclinical research, so research done in the laboratory, or we think about clinical trials, so trials which are opening this year, or have opened, or will open next year. We also think about different aspects of, not only research and clinical trials, but we segment it according to different areas. So obviously, when you think about Duchenne, you think that it's multifaceted. So you've got affects the heart, affects the lungs. There's also evidence to show that it, in some individuals, affects the brain. So what we've done is we've segmented the information according to that way as well. So not only are you getting the latest developments in research from what we call translational. What it means is like from the bench to the bedside. So all the way through, so you get that continuing developments. But we also have updates on all bone, nutrition. We have updates for lots of different standards of care. So what's really interesting is the fact that the standards of care guidelines have been submitted for publication in the Lancet Neurology, and we are expecting them to be released imminently. So we already know that there are significant updates because the standards of care guidelines were written in 2010 and 2011, and we know that there are so many updates. So I think there's some highlights here at the conference around what the major updates for standards of care guidelines are, which is really important. But I also want to highlight the fantastic collaboration that we have with DMD Pathfinders. So every year, we look at the whole of the Duchenne spectrum. And it's not just about children and their parents, it's also about the teenagers and adults. So what's really great is to have a really great organisation called DMD Pathfinders in the UK, set up by adults for adults. And John and Mark gave a really fantastic presentation, really saying, although we're a user-led organisation, we really want to drive the conversation forward and really engage with different stakeholders. So that includes pharmaceutical companies, includes healthcare professionals and regulators, because they want to be an equal voice around the table. So we've been working with the DMD Pathfinders for the past year to look at how we can drive that forward. So what's really interesting in the DMD Pathfinder session is we've got more sessions about adult research. There's a session, a roundtable led by adults with some of the healthcare professionals. And then we've got a fantastic adult symposium, which I'm really looking forward to. So this is our first symposium where we're asking healthcare professionals and adults to come together and talk about the progress, but some of the challenges they're still facing. And so I think that will be amazing. Looking forward to that. I'm also really excited, although I probably won't be attending just because I frankly won't have the time, which is such a shame. The teenager sessions, which will be super fun. We've got some great sessions around gaming, around 3D printing, but also silent disco, because the feedback that we had from last year was there was some fantastic adult sessions and fantastic sessions for kids, but teenagers are teenagers, and they're at that stage where they're curious, but they also want to have fun. They don't necessarily want to go into all the adult sessions. So we have a parallel track across the 2 days, Friday and Saturday, and I think it'll be really fun and really engaging. So all of that is really fantastic. But I also want to welcome the Becker muscular dystrophy community to our conference for the first time. And what's really been fantastic is to work with some of the Becker community on the workshop agenda. So on the Saturday morning, so tomorrow morning, we have a session, half a day workshop dedicated to Becker. And that encompasses clinical updates, so standards of care. It encompasses research, but also, hearing from the community. I've been hearing from the Becker community, perhaps in the background for many years, and I think they felt a little bit frustrated. They felt like there was not much for them. There weren't enough clinical trials, there weren't enough development. So it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of that workshop and how useful it is for the Becker community. But I think there's so much that we can learn from each other. And I really hope that will bring an extra dimension to the conference. And again, the last point I want to highlight about the conference is we are looking across the whole spectrum. But a lot of when we refer to Duchenne, it's very male oriented. So we have to remember that 2/3 women are carriers and some are manifesting. And we always run sessions about women being carriers and the advice and information, but also for their daughters, for their aunts, for all the women in the family. It's really important they get this information. And also that they have that avenue for support and sharing. But we also have to remember, and it is exceptionally rare, that girls have Duchenne. So that's something that we want to build on, and it's not about referring to a specific group within Duchenne, it's about the whole spectrum, and we always try and say it's a community, and that's a really important aspect of the conference as well. And also for those who really are newly diagnosed, start of their journey, it's so incredibly difficult and brave to come to a conference like this, and you feel all the moments of despair and darkness and inundated with information from all sorts of sources. But what we've always done at the conference is to invite clinical psychologists who also have family connections with Duchenne, who can really help navigate your journey and share information and support. And even if it's all too much and there's so much going on at the conference, you can just take some moment with your friends and new contacts you've made with a member of the Action Duchenne team or trustees, and just take a moment and just say, you know what, I just need a moment. I'm finding this difficult. It's a community, and I think that's what the conference brings together. And I hope that we get this sense of community spirit, and that we really push it forward and drive forward collaboration, and also at the end of the day, it's about the people and then living longer and better lives. And I hope the conference contributes towards that. So thank you for coming and supporting us.